In the heart of the forest of whispers lived a community of animals who prided themselves on knowing everything about everyone. The forest was full of songs, laughter, and sometimes rumors. Among them lived Lilo, a young rabbit with fur as white as snow and eyes full of curiosity. Lilo was kind at heart, but he had one terrible habit. He judged too quickly. If someone made a mistake, he was the first to whisper about it. If he saw something strange, he assumed the worst before seeking the truth. Every creature in the forest liked Lilo for his cheerfulness, but his hasty tongue had quietly hurt many hearts. One bright morning, as golden sunlight poured through the trees, the forest saw a new visitor, a porcupine named Poco. His quills glimmered like silver needles, and his eyes were shy, as if he carried the weight of many lonely journeys. When Poco arrived near the meadow, Lilo saw him from afar, dragging a small bundle behind. "What's that spiky fellow doing here?" Lilo muttered. "He looks dangerous. Maybe he's a thief or a hunter." Without asking anyone, Lilo rushed to the birds, then to the squirrels, and finally to the deer, spreading his suspicion like dry leaves in the wind. "Be careful of that porcupine," he warned. "He's new here, and I saw him carrying something. It could be stolen." Soon the forest buzzed with whispers. Everywhere Poco went, eyes followed. When he greeted the chipmunks, they ran away. When he tried to drink water from the pond, the frogs leapt off the rocks. Even the owl frowned from above. Poco said nothing. He simply found a quiet hollow near the edge of the woods and lived there silently. A few days later, dark smoke rose from the far side of the forest. The storage hollow where many animals kept their winter food had caught fire. Panic spread. Everyone blamed everyone. "It must be Poco," shouted a crow. "He was seen near that area." Yes, Lilo added quickly. "I knew he was suspicious. I told you all." The animals, frightened and angry, stormed toward Poco's hollow. The porcupine stepped out slowly, startled by the crowd of furious faces and trembling voices. "I didn't do anything," Poco said quietly. "I was near the stream collecting leaves to patch my nest." "Liar," shouted a squirrel. "Search his place." They rushed inside, scattering his things. There, in a small corner, they found the bundle he had been carrying. When he first arrived, Lilo tore it open triumphantly. "Aha, I knew it. Let's see what he's hiding." But inside were only tiny wooden carvings, animals, birds, and trees, each carved with loving detail. "These are toys," whispered the fox in surprise. Poco lowered his head. "I carve them for little ones," he said softly. "In the last forest I lived in, young animals used to gather every evening to hear stories. I made these so they could imagine the tales. I wanted to share them here, too, but no one would talk to me." A heavy silence spread through the crowd. Lilo's ears drooped as shame flooded his heart. Just then, the owl, who had been watching the sky, called out, "Everyone look." From the far side of the forest came a gust of wind, carrying sparks and ashes. The old pine tree, dry and cracked from age, had fallen on the food hollow. The fire had started naturally, no one's fault. The animals turned back to Poco, guilt in their eyes. "I'm sorry," murmured the deer. "We were too quick to judge." But Lilo couldn't meet Poco's gaze. His paws trembled. "I started this," he whispered. "I judged you without knowing you. I made everyone believe my words." Poco looked at the little rabbit for a long moment. Then he smiled gently. "Sometimes," he said, "we all see shadows and think they are monsters. What matters is what we do when we realize they're not." From that day onward, Lilo changed. He became quiet before speaking, thoughtful before judging. He began to ask questions instead of assuming answers. And to make up for his mistake, he helped Poco gather wood and clay to build a small storytelling corner near the meadow. Each evening, young animals would gather there to listen to Poco's stories and play with the carvings he made. Lilo sat among them, often listening more than speaking. Whenever someone whispered a rumor or jumped to a conclusion, he gently said, "Don't decide before you know. Shadows often look darker than they are." Moral: quick judgment blinds the heart. Truth needs patience, and understanding requires time. Judge slowly, for even the thorniest being may carry a kind soul within. Let's learn some words from this story. Rumors, meaning untrue or unconfirmed information spread by people. Example: A rumor spread that the fox had stolen the berries. Hasty, meaning doing something too quickly without thinking carefully. Example, his hasty words hurt his friend's feelings. Scattered meaning spread out or thrown in different directions. Example, the animals scattered when the noise scared them. Culprit meaning the person or thing responsible for something wrong. Example, the real culprit behind the fire was a falling pine tree. Thorniest, meaning full of thorns or figuratively, the most difficult or painful. Example, even the thorniest being may have a kind heart inside. Harmony meaning a peaceful and balanced relationship among living beings. Example, the animals lived in harmony after learning their lesson.